Okay, welcome back. So last week we managed to finish the transmission swap in the Merc. We went from a turbo 400 to a 480, and this week I'm pretty excited because I'm going to start building the titanium exhaust for the RBEH. So stick around, let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing I have to do this morning is, well, clean up from the weekend. Anika and Barney were here. Barney's mess, and I'm going to say this is Anika's mess because we had to paint or stain some timber shells for Yoga Bear. I had to make a bracket up. I'll clean up first, and then we're going to, actually first I'm actually going to throw covers over all the cars. All right, workshop's all clean, cars are wrapped up, and now it's time to make a mess again. So this is where it all starts with. This is the V-band off the turbo, titanium, and when I ordered this, it was for a 3-inch, but they didn't actually say a 3.5 inch. I was just hoping that it was going to be both. So you can see that little recess in there. So a 3-inch pipe fits perfectly on the inside, but a 3.5 inch fits perfectly on the outside. So I want to do the whole exhaust 3 inches, 3.5 from the turbo back, so dump pipe included. So this worked out perfect. I didn't want to actually have to do it 3-inch and then somewhere step it up. So this is it. Got the bungs. Okay, so this is just what I wanted to do first. Was this is a 90-degree 3.5 inch stainless bend. I didn't use this because it was on special and I bought it and it was terrible. Look how out of shape that is. And so this is a thin wall Chinese special. Let's have a look. Okay, well, grams. Okay, 1169 grams. So just over a kilo. I'll take that off, and we'll chuck the titanium one on there. Almost half the weight. Stainless and alloy, 60 to 70 bucks. Titanium, 150. So just a bit over double, but about half the weight. Other little things I'm gonna have to get was some titanium TIG rod. It is a bit tarnished, so I've got to really clean this. I've actually got to clean everything really well. I didn't get a lot because I didn't know how much I was going to use, and they were $2.50 each. As I said, this is where we start. And take you off. Okay, I haven't even cut this down, but there is a short leg and a long leg, and the short leg fits. Well, it fits in. It fits in square. It's a bit too close to the firewall, and I've just left all of the V-bands loose so I can move this around. I've positioned the drain. I've got the drain on. I've got all the fittings on as well, so just there's room for everything. It's not going to clash. So now I'm just going to mark how much I want to take off this, cut that down, and that should be the first one done. Pretty simple. All right, so this is how far I have got. This one is just tapped on to the V-band, so it can still be pulled in and out. If I undo that, I can rotate it that way and that way. There's the clamp on there, the tacking beam clamp, that holds the other 90 that way, and I can spin it back side to side. So I've had a lot of playing around and trying to figure out the best route possible, best path. So let me put it up and I'll just show you. Okay, so this sits nice and square. So that's just a 90-90 with only a little bit cut off the top one. And as I said, there's a short leg and a long leg. So this positioned with the short leg up, and it's actually got a nice clearance to the floor. The way I designed the car to sit was that the rails and the sill will be 160 mil off the ground. So that gives me 60 mil for the exhaust to hang down, and then 100 mil ground clearance. That's the legal amount. And that is with the car at its lowest setting. So shocks all the way down and wheels tucked up into the guards. The main thing, the defining factor of the whole thing, is being able to get the wheels into the front guards and still be able to turn full lock without scrubbing. Okay, so now I'm just going to tack the V-band, both V-bands, to the cat, and then I'll tack the titanium side of the V-bands to the exhaust. Just make sure that there is a male and female ones of these. That little ring sits in place. If I get the wrong one, it won't work. And these cats flow one direction. So make sure of that. But yeah, I'll get that done now. All right, so this is where I'm at right now. Still haven't tacked the top to the back of the turbo and still got the clamp on that. Tacked on this V-band, and I just wanted to get this straight, because if I undo that, I can actually pivot this and shoot it where I want it. But I want it dead straight. I want clearance around here. I want to be able to get to that bolt on the other side. And that other bolt. So as I said, I'll make a new cross member. So this has got to come up, I don't know, 30-40 mil, so I can modify that. But I just put a 1 meter bit of straight, just set it flat on that flange and ran it straight out, and then just took a measurement across to the edge of the sill, and I'm pretty happy with that. It's nice and straight. It's going to come back, and I'm just going to have to do a little bit of a dog leg to kick it into this section here before doing the 90. But I'll just tack this front together, because I've actually only got one tacking clamp in the 3.5 inch, so I need that to continue on. So I'll pull this off, tack it, and get it back to this spot before I start modifying this and notching that. So I've taken out the cross member, and I just got this 1 meter piece of tube, and that will slide in, and then I've marked the center of that, measured out to the sill, and I've just got a that's a 3.5, so I want it like a 4 inch. So I just found a roll of tape that was 4 inches wide, and just put that up there, traced around it, squared it off, did it on the other side, and now I'll cut that out. Alright, pretty happy with the progress so far. It's notched in. I managed to use the same cross member I just pushed it up as high as I can go, notched. There's a bit of so the pipe can sit up in there, and because it went up so high, it actually was touching here, so I notched that. So I'll sheet both of them in some thick steel, and then I've just used the same bracket I had before. Then I'll make a big section that kind of comes down, really triangulates and strengthens, so it's on both sides, so that way it can't roll. But I will do that at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I've clamped this in because I want to show you, if I just run it dead straight, it's not going to be in the highest point. Here is where I want it. So I can drop the diff down and take the wheels off. If it was here, obviously the diff will hit. So I needed to bring it over to this section here, and I did plan for this, and that's why I got a 45. Instead of getting all 90s, I got all 90s, but I got one extra 45, and I cut the 45 in the center, and just to do this little bit of a dog leg. And it's from this edge to this edge, it's about 100 mil, and that'll be nice if I bring that over into there, about 100 mil. That'll be perfect. One other thing too is that I've got this at the right height. So if I put a straight edge across the bottom of these brackets on the diff, we've got like 3 mil. So I don't want that to change, the height of that. So when I do this dog leg, what I've done here is just rigged up on the bench, just a flat surface and a flat surface, so they stay all flat. Because if I just turn that a little bit, a couple of degrees, it will change the angle of that and shoot that up or down or left or right. Well, it's looking pretty good. I just tacked this one on. So I've got the clamp up here, got the 90 degree on it. It's got clearance to the panhard rod, clearance around the diff. And now I'm just sitting the muffler in place. What I actually do want to do now, before I go any further, I can do this piece, but measuring this last piece is straight. I want to get this with a few mounts down here, because this here, a little bit, 1 or 2 mil here will affect the gap around here. See, it's a bit tight now, so it's got to go across. So might start making a hanger, some sort of mount here, probably one on the crossmember, I think would be the best. That way, if I pull the dump pipe off, this will hang. All right, it's looking good now. I've got the wheels on. These actually aren't the wheels that are going on it, thankfully. These were off the Camaro, off the front of the Camaro when it came in. 2 4.5s, so we're putting 2 7.5s in the back. We do have the tires, we just haven't got the rims yet. So you can see there's still plenty of room up here, so I've allowed for that. And there's a lot of clearance. I've got to put the springs into the shocks and springs, but there's clearance there. It's just I think it's like a nice height. It's still tucked up, but as I said, once I know what we're going to do on the back, if it's going through the beaver or a dumpy, I can set that height. But for now, I'm working on this piece, which pretty much is an offcut that I've got. Should fit in there with some trimming. But as I said before I put that in, I want to get this in the right spot. So I started making up these hangers. So I've got the titanium rod and just put a bolt through here. I'll weld that on, and then I'm just gonna heat this up and put like a little Z section in, and then TIG it along here. And that'll hold that in position up the front. And then I'm going to do another one off this panhard rod bolt. Off the back of that, I'll put another rubber there and then TIG the rod to that. So what I did with these rods, these are the hangers that I use. They're a Commodore, I think early Commodore VS or something. I've always used them. They work really well. They're really strong and durable. But the problem with this is that this gap is too big and I don't like that slop. So what I did with the last one, I just took a chunk out of that and TIGged that back together. Last piece of the puzzle, so I'm just cleaning it. Make sure scratch right where you're going to weld. And then wipe it down with some acetone. Because you don't want that in your weld. To the other side. All right, done. So, as I said, I'm still waiting on the titanium V-band. They're out of stock. And everything else, this hanger on. We've got this hanger on. And I just got the stand underneath there. I'll put a hanger on here somewhere. I'll probably do that tomorrow, just so I can get this stand out of the way and drop the car back down. It actually does hang. The exhaust, the whole thing is so light that I can actually take this off and it just floats. So it's just hanging from there, but there's no weight in this muffler. There's bugger all weight in this muffler, so yeah, I can drop it down if I need to, but I will just make a little bracket for that. And yeah, I can start on the fuel tank now. All right, I've just been sort of getting a design for the fuel tank. So this is what I've come up with. Obviously it's going to end here. Just using the muffler to mock up off. The design I don't want it to come down lower than the rear beaver. I don't want a drop tank looking style. I hate that. I like flush, clean lines. And the problem I was coming up with was this sweeping back guard. I didn't want like a big box coming down here. And I wanted to come out as far to this section, into this section as possible. One, just for more area for fuel, and two is that the fuel filler neck comes down and I want it to enter into the top of the fuel tank. and then with the baffle next to it and all that stuff, it'll stop sloshing up and out, especially when they come in on the side. So that was the design, and so I wanted it to come out, and then I thought if I kind of follow this line all the way across, that way when you're looking at it side on, you won't see this kind of alloy box hanging down. You should just follow the lines of the car. I did some quick math. There's about it should be about a 90 litre tank, which I think is enough. Okay, that's about it for this video. I'm not going to fully weld the exhaust together until I finish the fuel tank, and that'll be done probably in the next video. Also, something has just turned up. I've got a tailgate off a Holden Commodore, a VS I think it is. Terrible condition, but all I want is the mechanism out of that, because I'm going to modify it and fit it into the tailgate of the EH. Okay, so that'll probably be the next one video. I want to start finishing all this rear end. I want to make the bumper bar, smooth that off, finish the tailgate, gap everything, and then I can finally figure out what we're going to do with the exhaust tip. So stick around for the next video. I hope you like this one. All those things, like, comment, share if you want. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Anyway, thanks a lot. See you next time. Cheers. Some playtime, is it? Thank you. Good boy. Sit. What's up? You drunk? Shake. Yeah, he's a good boy. Hmm. 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 Hmm.